It's Monday, I'm Darren, this is 7 Awesome Lesbians. This topic was chosen by Shane, which means it is awesome. So, it is, do you feel like you have to be two different people because of your gender identity or sexual orientation? Why do you feel like that? Who are the different people? How do you deal with splitting yourself in two? And how do you integrate them together? Really the only time I felt split in two was when I was still playing soccer. I think it was this time at the very end of the season, maybe like a month or two before State Cup, where I really started feeling it. And that was when I had come out at home. And my family was integrating my male identity into everyday life at home. But that was really the only place where I was out. And so, but that really only bothered me at soccer, because in soccer, I was on a girls' team, so I was very much forced into a female box, because I had to be on a girls' team. The fact that it wasn't an option, like with my friends, it was always an option to come out, so it felt lesser so than with the team, because it was never an option. I never felt like it was an option. I didn't really deal with it at all. I think part of that was because it was soccer, and I'm just so in love with that sport that the fact that I was being pulled apart by it didn't really seem as important as playing it did. And so I just kind of stuck it out and pushed those being split apart feelings out of my way, because I didn't want them to get in the way of anything until I got through State Cup. I mean, I wanted to stay with this team. I would do whatever I could to stay with that team through State Cup, because I love that team, and I love that sport, and I would do whatever I could just to stay with it as long as I could. It was hardest on my mom, to be honest, being two different people, because I just remember the group stages of State Cup tournament was supposed to be in a town like that was 4 hours away. So we all stayed over at a hotel and everything that weekend, and in the hotel room, and when my mom and I were alone, she would be using male pronouns and my chosen name. And then when we were around the team and on the field, when she was talking to the parents, she had to use female pronouns and my birth name, and so I think that was hardest on my mom. The only real physical characteristic about myself that I would change that's not going from a female characteristic to a male characteristic really would be my knees. It sounded really weird. What I mean by that is that my knees are really, really shitty. I have severe tendinitis in both knees, as well as severe patellofemoral syndrome in my left knee and mild patellofemoral syndrome in my right knee. So, like, they're a mess. If I could fix my knees, change that physical characteristic about myself, and make my knees not be crazy, then I would do that. I'm gonna be talking about the World Cup. So if you don't care, peace, love, have an awesome week. If you do care, here we go. Today was the United States-Brazil quarterfinal. The singular, most dramatic, most emotional game I have ever seen. And over 14 years of playing this game, I've seen a lot of freaking games. The Brazilian own goal in the second minute of play, to the red card in the second half, to the saved penalty kick, to the called back penalty kick, to the scored called back penalty kick, and throwing us into overtime, to the Brazilian goal in the early minutes of overtime that may or may not have been offside, to the Brazilians faking injuries left and right, to the latest goal scored in World Cup history to tie it and send us into penalty kicks. I mean, I must have had like 50 heart attacks yesterday. The U.S. overcame everything. Everything was against the United States. The referees were biased as heck. The Brazilians, again, I mean, really, how many times can you fake an injury? I think the Brazilians set a frickin' record. And it was just insane. I don't even know. There's really, like, no words for it. It was just ridiculous. And the team with the most heart really went out, and they never gave up. And, I mean, so many teams would have just said, okay, you know, there's really nothing we can do. We're done with now. But in the last minute of stoppage time added to the overtime, we scored, because we just kept going, and we never stopped. And It was just insanity. It doesn't matter if you follow the World Cup. It doesn't matter if you like soccer. It doesn't matter if you like sports. Anyone can seriously appreciate what happened. And I'm going to put the link to the highlights in the below bar. And seriously, go watch them because it's just intense. Quarterfinals in Germany got knocked out, which is just hilarious. No offense to any German soccer fans, but I just don't like them. So that was really funny. Yep. So then on Wednesday is when the semifinals are. USA France versus and then the other one is Japan Sweden. And then the third place match is on Saturday and the final is on Sunday.